How you doing? Welcome to Chris's Comments, a show discussing common sense, common ground, no matter what the subject. I bring this up because of the simple fact that there is an extreme point of view going on two sides. On one side, you've got we're right, they're wrong, and if you don't believe me, if you don't believe in us, you believe in them, you believe in anything else but us, you're what's ruining this country. This country's doomed. It's all doomed. And the other side, the flip side to that, is the same exact stream point, but saying there's right, there's wrong, and we're going to connect the wrongs, God dog it. And if you don't help us and you stand against us, you should go in with them and you'd help these people and those people. You don't do this. You're going to, you're what's wrong with this country. This country's doomed. It's all doomed. And in between those two extremes, you got people like you and I, people with a down-to-earth mentality, and it's a very simple one: to live happy with as little headaches as possible. And that's where this show comes in. Common sense, common ground. Now, the discussion is the Trump trials, the very first stage of it, and the predictability, what I see, what many of us down here below see, the little guys, what we all what we're looking at, particularly with this, without the extremities, whichever way you want to go and look at it as. But for somebody like myself that just sees things as they are and sees what, takes a look at this with my own eyes, I see a pretty good start going on with the Trump trials. Let's start with what I see on the left. We got the Democrats that say there's a bunch of evidence that reveals Trump knew in advance of the rampage at the Capitol, and that his words and his actions influenced those who participated. Okay, that's what they're going to be coming up first thing. Now, Republicans, they've got this thing going on where they're a little bit all over the place. They're talking about the freedom of speech and how it's unconstitutional to try to punish Trump for using it. They're saying, well, what about Schumer, who said Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, you've unleashed a whirlwind and you're going to pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you continue with these awful discussions. Okay, and there's another Omar, somebody named Omar, and Maxine Waters. Now, Maxine Waters, I'm very familiar with. She's a judge, and she's very strict about what she does. Once she sees a target, she pretty much aims for that. Bill Clinton had a truckload of evidence against her, and nothing happened to her. And then there's this whole thing where they go off to saying, well, we need to solve the nation's problems, which has nothing to do with impeaching Trump or keeping him from being impeached. But there's a reason for it, though. There's also the different concerns between the first attempted impeach and the second one. This is a person that has two different attacks coming at him from two different things, for two different reasons. And there's just a lot of people that are saying that it's wrong, and you're what's wrong with this country, and it's doomed. We're all doomed. All right. So that's what they got going. Freedom of speech, defending it through a bunch of variety of angles, and the Dems who are freedom of speech, pro-speech, but you still got to own up to what you done. And honestly, I think that's fair. More so than they even know. Taking a step back and looking at it, more so than they even know. Because, let's first start with the obvious. The Schumer yelling at Kavanaugh. Everybody saying that everything's a disgrace and you're all going to be punished for your actions. Okay? Those are good points. There's a lot of people that said, you got to stand up for your rights. You got to stand up for what you believe in and blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But here's the thing. None of them on the left inspired an insurrection at the Capitol building, at a government facility. Okay? And I know that before everybody goes on, there was, the BLM and all this other stuff. Well, the BLM isn't following orders the way the Trumpsters were. And the BLM didn't get inside any place. Did they show up at a church in D.C.? Yeah. But they all got tear gassed and beat up. They didn't get a chance to get inside. They ran. They ran for their damn lives. Huge difference. Huge difference. Now keep in mind, what I'm saying isn't going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. But this is what I'm seeing. This is what all of us are seeing. This is what people like you and me who are a hell of a lot more down to earth are seeing. There's consequences for your actions. And leading a hate speech is, giving a speech that inspires everybody. And then to top it all off, all the insurrectionists are saying, well, Trump told us to. I was just following his orders. To this day, whether it be a person who calls himself a patriot or an actual soldier in the military, I was just following orders might be the reason for what you've done, but it's still not that valid of an excuse. Especially when lives that weren't supposed to be taken were taken. So, you've got these two different angles here. And the difference between the impeachment or the attempt of impeachment the second time is because of that insurrection, because of the results of what happened after giving his speech. The very first attempt was an abuse on foreign policy. What he said over the phone, this whole tit for tat thing, that if memory serves, didn't really get him into any trouble. So there's a difference between the two. Everyone wants to say, well, it's just the Democrats being assholes again, or a-holes. Sorry for my language. And that's beside the point. For us little guys, all you politicians are a pain in the butt. For us nobodies down here who have to work for a living still, who can't get donations, just for, because it's not in anybody's best interest to donate to us. That's a huge difference, man. It doesn't matter. Y'all are a pain in the butt. Okay, so that's the deal. That's the spiel concerning the first day of the Trump trials. Okay. Hearing both of these arguments. Now the prediction. This is what I see happening. Or possibly happening. Okay. Freedom of speech, speak all you want. An outcome of the speech leading to an insurrection is still an impeachable offense. Now, if the Democrats stick to that, regardless of whatever's thrown at them, they might actually win this round. They might actually win round one, day one, or whatever. The Republicans, multi-leveled argumentative. It sounds kind of silly, but let's just be honest. Sticking to freedom of speech with a result of an insurrection is really not going to help them. Claiming that he didn't give the orders or he didn't do it, he just said stuff while everybody else enacted. Well, If memory serves, there was a guy named Charles Manson that tried getting out of prison using that the exact stipulation. He didn't kill Shannon Tate, but he was the one that was given the speech. He was the influencer. He was the influencer to their actions, his followers' actions. So the Republicans, they could go for it, but let's be honest, that's only going to get them. That's only going to get them so far. Freedom of speech, they can go for it, but that's only going to get them so far. The differences between this insurrection and the previous one, that it's just another attempt of Democrats being a pain in the ass. That's only going to get them so far. It's a good point. It's very exhausting to see on our screens and our when normally we're not really paying attention to C-SPAN. It gets our attention for a little while, but it just drains us the more and more this goes on with the battering and the bashing. So yeah, they've got a good point. But I don't think that's the sole thing that they should stick to. I think multi-leveled argumentative reasons is really what they're good at. And it really is what they should stick by. Schumer and Maxine Waters and Representative Omar. I think she's a representative, not a senator. And it's AOC. They've got good points about people demonizing Trump, demonizing the Republicans, demonizing conservatives, and all this stuff. So they got a good point. But when you've got, here's the thing though. Where they lag behind is the actions that Trump has done, the actions that the Republicans have committed, the actions that the followers have committed, the conservatives, all the Trumpsters, the Tea Party movement, everybody that has gone into rally and has done nothing but hurt other people. BLM, okay, that is something that's a little bit of on the same spectrum, despite the fact that it's a different circumstance. BLM was a bunch of ragtag nobodies that got beat up, tear gassed. They even got I look at the YouTube videos all the time. They're always getting their asses kicked. It's hilarious. And they've attacked others and they've committed looting and everything like this. That's still a difference between people that have actually insurrected the Capitol building. Okay? Nobody made it that far. The Trumpsters did, but it sure as hell wasn't the BLM or Antifa. Antifa got their asses kicked. Antifa gets their butts whooped by BLM and peaceful protesters. We all saw that one video where an Antifa pulled up in front of the riot police, jumped out of his car, tried turning on a bomb, but got his butt kicked, and the bomb got thrown into his car. And then he got tackled, and while the bomb blew up in his car, the Antifa guy got dragged all the way over to the police to get arrested. So those are two huge differences between the protester and the followers of a cause. Two huge differences. One made themselves an incredible threat, going at the Capitol, invading it, breaking in to the point where one had to get shot through a window. Another had a heart problem that wound up kicking his ass. And then there were two cops that wound up getting killed. That speaks far more results than anything that the BLM and the Antifa and the protesters did. They got their butts whooped. And when they couldn't break into anything, they couldn't break into any of the government places. They couldn't beat up the cops. They broke into stores. They broke into a construction site up there in one of the northern cities. I forgot what city it was. But they broke into a construction site that was closed for the weekend and used all the barricades and the orange barrels and the fencing and all this good stuff to create a barricade that didn't slow down the police at all. They got their butts whooped. Huge difference between the two. But the Republicans can try bringing that up again because of certain acts that were committed. The Republicans have to stay multi-leveled argumentative in order to get anything on their side done. And with any works, if it works, it means they've broken down the Democrats. They've broken down any Republican that stands with the Democrats, or at least just stands against Trump. You know, they've broken all of that down. If they stay this way. If they can't, then round one goes to the Dems. Round one goes to the Dems. Plain and simple. So it's going to be interesting. It shouldn't be draining just yet. But that's my prediction as this little guy that's looking at both sides and just watching the spectacle, no matter what the spectacle, no matter what the subject. And hopefully you guys get to, whoever it is that's admiring this show. So my second show got 8 views. Woohoo! My first show didn't get any at all. Nobody's still looking at the premiere, and that's fine. I'm just doing this to let out what so many commenters are not. The down-to-earth, common ground, common sense way of thinking. There's just too much extreme going on both sides of the aisle, and the rest of us are just doing nothing but get headaches. So this is one where this one show, I'm hoping that we can enjoy life a little bit easier, you know, and be better off this way, just staying on common ground with using common sense. So that's my take on the Trump trials, the very first stage, and hopefully there's more to talk about. Hopefully there's still more room to talk about stuff, because it's got my mind thinking of many different viewpoints concerning this particular subject. But we first have to see where everything goes. So until that time. All right, I'm out. Y'all, thanks for watching. If any of this is to your appealing, even if just temporarily, I mean, because there's a lot of shows that I've subscribed and then later on dropped because the extremities that they eventually wound up getting to, and it's just a little whack whack. So for right now, you find this appealing, like, subscribe, share, pass it around, and we'll see where we can go with this. We'll catch y'all later. Take care of yourself. Take care.